What if I told you the Baylen Out Loud crew just turned their world upside down? From moments that melt your heart to surprises no one saw coming, this past year has been full of transformations, tough decisions, and raw emotion. It's not just another update, it's the kind that makes you stop scrolling and lean in. Every member has a story to tell. Some are stepping into new chapters, some are redefining what family means, and others are facing challenges that will leave you speechless. We're breaking down all the latest twists, milestones, and unforgettable scenes you've been waiting for. So buckle up, because this one's going to be a ride. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a moment from the fame. The last 12 months feel like a vivid chapter of transformation for Baylen Dupree. In early February 2025, she surprises fans with the announcement of her engagement to longtime partner Colin, a moment she describes as beyond excited for this next chapter, her eyes shining with genuine hope as the world watches. The proposal, which will unfold on Baylen Out Loud, marks not just a romantic milestone, but a turning point in her public journey. As the calendar turns, the series that introduced her story receives a green light for Season 2 on February 24th, and the network buzz is electric. The renewal is framed as validation, proof that her story, inseparable from her lived experience with Tourette syndrome, connects at a deeper level with viewers. She steps into this new season acknowledging that the stakes are higher now. Every promo shot and social media piece carries more weight because in April, on an FYC panel lit with camera flashes and earnest questions, Baylen leans into vulnerability. She revisits earlier days filled with suicidal thoughts, tied to the weight of her condition and the pressure of being on for the camera. "I had nights I couldn't see past the tics," she admits, voice soft but unwavering as she lifts the veil on the pain behind the scenes. Side by side in the footage, Colin sits quietly, present, supportive, and the public glimpse of their dynamic feels deeply human. Still, they aren't rushing into the altar. At the same event, Baylen explains, "There's not a lot of planning going on. We're just kind of living in the moment right now." The sound of that creates space, a relief for fans expecting a whirlwind wedding. Instead, the focus is on the living together chapter and how two people learn to merge their lives, rhythms, and routines, tics and triggers. Then comes the October reveal. Season 2 premieres on October 7th, 2025 at 9/8C, and Baylen teases storylines involving cohabitation, premarital counseling, and managing symptoms under the public eye. In one sensational clip, she admits with a rueful smile that during intimacy with Colin, her tics can just drop away, and she describes workouts as one of her few uninterrupted tic windows. It's a raw confession, kind of spark hitting in the quiet of a living room, and it reminds us how layered her reality is. Premarital counseling becomes a through line this season. In one exclusive, she says the therapy helped us communicate in ways I didn't even know needed fixing. The way she describes it feels intimate. Gray couch, mid-afternoon, the hum of a session, and two people hanging on to the edges of change. One of the more playful threads emerges when Baylen shares on her Instagram a reel of the two of them walking past alpaca pens in the crisp air of a countryside shoot. It's light, almost levity after the heavy. She captions it, "We might add alpacas to the guest list." And in a single wink, she manages to humanize what could otherwise come off as celebrity weird. The image of the two of them in soft golden sunset, llamas or alpacas grazing quietly behind them, it's charming, unexpected, but also a symbol of our life, our pace. Throughout it all, Baylen keeps circling back to education and advocacy. She addresses the surge of people imitating tics after watching the show, posting a Reels message. "Please don't mimic what you don't understand," adding with calm conviction that representation isn't imitation. When that punch hits, in slow motion, in a scrolling feed, you feel the gravity of her platform. What remains consistent is the tone. Baylen is in motion, not just from scene to scene, but from self-doubt to self-discovery, from partner to fiancé, from star of a freshman season to someone who knows the show is bigger than her spectacle. Colin is more than a companion, he's an anchor. The tics are more than a condition, they're a lens. The show isn't just a reality show, they're telling real stories. As the October premiere looms, you don't just watch Baylen Dupree, you become invested in what comes next. Colin Dooley is having the kind of year that quietly rewires a life. We catch up with him in the present tense because that's how his story plays out on screen and in real time. One decision, one conversation, one small domestic moment at a time. He's no longer just the steady boyfriend on the edge of Baylen's whirlwind. This year, he steps forward as her fiancé, the person who stands close enough to feel the gusts and still keep his footing. The engagement lands early in the year, and the tone shifts instantly. You can hear it in Baylen's voice when she talks about him, and you can see it in Colin's posture beside her. Relaxed shoulders, a grin that says the hard days don't scare him. Soon after, the wedding talk begins to crystallize. It's not confetti and checklists so much as a shared curiosity. What does a venue feel like when your life is as public as theirs? In the late winter updates, they start teasing tours, holding hands as they step into bright foyers and echoey halls, looking for a room that can hold both her wild spark and his grounded calm. The way they move through those spaces says a lot. Colin's habit of scanning for the practical details while Baylen listens to her gut. It's the same dynamic fans came to love, now framed by a ring and a promise. The comments go wild, of course, but in the clips themselves, there's a softness, a couple choosing how to begin the next chapter rather than racing to the finish. Between the big milestones, their everyday life shows up in flashes. A January date night reels past with messy laughter and the playful chaos that follows Baylen wherever she goes. Colin's role isn't to tame it, it's to match it with patience and a dry sense of humor. There are moments when Baylen talks candidly about tough days and how his presence steadies her, and those lines linger. She has said before that being with him can feel like medicine, and this year you see exactly what that means in practice. The hand at the small of her back before a crowded entrance, the knowing glance across a table when tics catch her by surprise, the quiet, we're good energy that keeps them moving. The show keeps layering in real-life stakes. Earlier concerns about Colin's Air Force obligations hang in the air as a reminder that love doesn't get to exist in a vacuum. It's a storyline about schedules and geography, but also about identity, who Colin is when he's in uniform and who he is at home, and how those versions braid into a future with a camera watching. That tension doesn't push them apart. Instead, it becomes part of the conversation they're willing to have publicly. When the new season arrives, their engagement isn't just a headline, it's context. You watch them navigating grown-up logistics while protecting the spark that started all of this. Summer brings one of those personal posts that lands with extra weight because it's so simple. A birthday shout-out where Colin refers to Baylen as his fiancé, with zero fanfare, only warmth. It's the kind of caption that reads like a deep breath. By then, the audience has settled into the idea that these two are building something sturdy. The premiere that follows in the fall picks up the thread. More home scenes, more family rhythms, and more proof that Colin doesn't mind being the calm center of a very loud room. He's present, engaged, and game for the learning curve of life lived on television. 12 months on, the update is clear. Colin is not a subplot, he's a co-author. The engagement turns talk into plans. Venue scouting becomes shorthand for all the choices they're making together. The everyday moments, the date nights, the candid check-ins, the steadying hand add up to a portrait more intimate than any single announcement. Right now, Colin Dooley stands exactly where the story needs him, beside Baylen, facing forward, ready for whatever the next page requires. The last year pulls the Dupree family into sharper focus. and you can feel the edges softening as they learn how to move together on camera and off. Baylen steps forward with more confidence, naming what Tourette's looks like on a hard day and what it doesn't mean about who she is. Around her, the house in West Virginia hums, Julie's steady voice in the kitchen, Alan's dry jokes in the doorway, and a chorus of siblings drifting in and out of frame with their own stories and timing. They tease, they roll their eyes, they show up. It's messy and affectionate, the kind of loud that means we're here. Burke, the eldest, is figuring out the first real stretch of adulthood and the way responsibility reshapes his week. He's practical and big brother calm, the one who can lift a box, fix a hinge, or pull Baylen into a side hug when the day turns sharp. Sammy, a beat or two quicker, splits time between Kansas and home. She carries her own battles with anxiety and OCD into the open, and the sisters keep checking in on each other, sometimes with laughter, sometimes with a long pause that says more than a speech. The camera catches them in those small, unscripted moments, a hand squeeze across a couch cushion, a "you good?" that lands like a promise. Sven leans into sports and friends, a burst of motion who keeps the energy up when the house needs it. Vic is quieter, happiest outside, the kid who can name the best spots to fish and who ends family debates by slipping out to the yard until tempers settle. And then there's Betchnir, the youngest, a walking plot twist, equal parts comic relief and truth teller, who can make Baylen laugh even when she's bracing against a tic. Together, they're the rhythm section. Different tempos, one song. The parents are the through line. Julie is support in action, 1,000 unseen choices that make visible progress possible. Alan brings that lived-in dad wisdom, the kind that turns big feelings into manageable tasks. Eat first, drive second, breathe always. Over the past year, they've been more open about what it costs to worry and the grace it takes to let go. They're learning to step back without disappearing and to step in without taking over, especially as Baylen builds an independent life. Publicly, the family leans into honesty. They've said out loud that loving someone with Tourette's changes the way attention works in a home. Sometimes it stretches thin, sometimes it snaps, and then you learn to tie it back together. This past year, that honesty turns into muscle memory. When Baylen wants to try a restaurant again, they plan for exits and still order dessert. When a sibling feels eclipsed, they say so, and the spotlight tilts a little wider. You can sense a quiet agreement forming. No one's story is background music here. Professionally, the momentum is real. With the series renewed, the family accepts that cameras will keep rolling while real life keeps happening. That means milestones happen with microphones nearby, a new apartment tour, a sibling's quick weekend visit, a family trip that's equal parts itinerary and improvisation. It also means boundaries get sharper. Baylen draws lines about what's educational and what's invasive, and the family backs her up. By the end of this 12-month stretch, the update isn't a single headline, it's the texture. The Dupree are still funny, still frank, and a little braver about naming the complicated parts. Baylen keeps redefining what visibility looks like on her terms. The siblings keep writing their own chapters without losing their place in the family story. And together, they keep choosing the hard thing that turns into the good thing. Show up, speak plainly, laugh when you can, and walk each other home.